Welcome to today's video. My name is Madelon Vos and this is Madelon Talks. Today we'll discuss the most important macro and Bitcoin news of the week. We will start by talking about the Bitcoin 2021 conference of the year. This conference has been discussed many times. Some of them were positive discussions, others were kind of negative, but I will give you my main takeaways on the main, or at least the best keynotes that we saw, and we will discuss what the effects of these keynotes, or at least of their vision on Bitcoin, will be in the near future. We will also dive deeper into the latest news on Bitcoin and some macro stuff, and in the end of this video we will take a look at the price, because currently we are in a very important phase when it comes to the price of Bitcoin, but we will discuss this in the end of the video. For now, I'm going to put myself in the right corner of this video, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, make sure to do so. Just click the red button down below and make sure to ring the bell so you get notified when there's a new video online. For now, we're going to start with Bitcoin Miami 2021. I was one of the lucky ones to attend at this conference, and I must say in the beginning I was really excited, and there were a lot of people. A lot of people were trying to get into the conference. We had the media pass, so we were kind of lucky we could skip the line, but some of those waiting had to wait for over 3 hours to get in. But there were some interesting keynotes, and I would like to start with the most important keynote, and I think it was probably one of the best keynotes on the whole event. The keynote from Jack Mallers, and you probably know Jack Mallers from Strike, and he's quite young still, but he visited El Salvador, and in his keynote he started by telling some macro stuff, the stuff I like, about inflation, hyperinflation, about the Fed printing a lot of money, and then he finally came to the story of El Salvador, talking about the people there using Bitcoin. And then one day the president of El Salvador called Jack, and he was really nervous, and we see Jack standing on stage, and he seems kind of nervous. You feel that the audience is looking at him, and we are waiting for the big announcement, because all of the crypto guys that were in El Salvador, for example, Peter McCormick was there, and we saw Pompliano twittering, there is a big announcement that's coming from Jack Mallers, so be prepared. And then the announcement came, and the president of El Salvador said, next week I will send to Congress a bill that will make Bitcoin a legal tender, and they will put Bitcoin on their reserves as well. This is the first country to put Bitcoin on their reserves, and to me this is a really important thing. This is one of the most important things for Bitcoin, and he said this is a small step for Bitcoin, but a big step for mankind, almost like the moon landing. And he's right. For Bitcoin, this is just a small step, but this can make a difference for these countries who are currently having such an unprecedented hyperinflationary scenario. And yeah, everyone in the audience was so enthusiastic about what happened and what he was telling. And of course, for us Europeans, he was crying at stage and he couldn't stop crying, and we in Europe are like, oh man. But this was a really American way. Keep in mind that Jack is a really good marketeer, and it was on the edge of maybe a bit too much, or it's still kind of, he's quite young, so it's still kind of cute as well. I mean, huh? But okay, that was the most important keynote, and after that there was a lot of discussion, because people on Twitter said, it's freaking El Salvador, what does this mean? It doesn't mean shit. And then we had Caitlyn Long, and Caitlyn Long is the Bitcoin mom from Wyoming, who started a bank which is not related to fractional reserve banking, and of course she's really enthusiastic about Bitcoin, but she's also giving us some extra information about what this means for Bitcoin users, for Bitcoin worldwide, and not only for El Salvador or their people. So she posted a thread on Twitter, and she said, if this becomes a law, because this is still an if, the bill has to pass. But if this becomes a law, it would have many secondary effects. Steel yourself, because a big fight is probably coming though. So why is there a big fight coming? And of course, she's congratulating Jack Mallers, the president of El Salvador as well, Blockstream, for pulling this off. And she's saying this is really big. And if Caitlyn Long says this is really big, it must be really big. So what's happening in Wyoming? They tried to make Bitcoin a legal tender, but that didn't work. Some people on Twitter were saying as well that in 2016, China said that Bitcoin was a legal tender, but that didn't become true. In China, they made it more like property and not like a legal tender. So what does this mean for the law from the US? So this means that if El Salvador actually goes ahead, if, it's still an if, and it recognizes Bitcoin as a legal tender, Bitcoin then becomes money under a certain law. And yep, if El Salvador does pass legislation to recognize Bitcoin as a legal tender, BTC will become money. And money means a medium of exchange currently authorized or adopted by domestic or foreign governments. So this means Bitcoin will gain special status in the banking system globally. Banks would likely treat it as any other foreign currency. Bitcoin may get backdoor favorable treatment under bank capital requirements Basel III. So the knock-on effect of El Salvador announcements is that other countries may follow. One likely candidate has always been Russia. We just heard Russia, some CEO or some CEO of a big bank saying that they don't like Bitcoin, but one candidate has been Russia, which has been graduating de-dollarizing since before 2008. However, this plays out. It's an historical day. Yesterday was an historical day for Bitcoin, and it advances adoption no matter how it plays out. Wonderful for all involved, and she's saying congrats to everyone, most especially to the people from El Salvador. And then we have Mark van der Scheijs tweeting, and he says, if El Salvador indeed makes BTC a legal tender next week, I believe this implies that there will be no capital gain tax on it anymore in other countries, for example the US, because it's seen as a form of money and not as an investment anymore. The reason is that Bitcoin is then an official foreign currency and you don't pay capital gains on other currencies. So this is huge if it turns out to go that way. But then Mark van der Scheijs says, I'm thinking that they might argue BTC holdings are still an investment and therefore subject to capital gains. So they will find some loopholes probably to get people still let people still pay their capital gain tax. But it's an interesting, because the first country put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, even though it's El Salvador, it's a small country with a small GDP, with over, like, I think it was only 5 million people, but still it is interesting to see what will happen next. And some analysts say that what El Salvador will be to countries was what MicroStrategy did for public companies. Don't underestimate their significance. So the guess is that there might follow more countries, the same as Caitlyn Long said as well. But after MicroStrategy, not a lot other companies followed. So keep that in mind as well. It all depends on how this bill will work out when it's Monday, and if this bill will pass, if they will put Bitcoin on their official currency list. By the way, what you have to know about El Salvador is that there isn't, they didn't have an own currency. They just used the US dollar. So now they have the US dollar, and they have Bitcoin as well as their form of payment. So what does this legal tender mean? It means that if you want to pay someone in Bitcoin, you can. It's an official currency. You can pay your taxes in Bitcoin if you want to. So this is becoming really, really interesting. So that's why this is so important, and especially for the people from El Salvador, because they now can move their money from another country to El Salvador without paying 50% in tax as well. So keep that in mind when arguing about this subject. So I would really recommend to watch the keynote of Jack Mallers to get your own opinion about what has happened or what's going to happen. What I also want to mention is that Venezuela has the third highest Bitcoin adoption in the world, as people increasingly use to migrate the country's economic instability. Here is the amount, take a look at the picture, here's the amount of Venezuelan currency needed to buy this single pastry throughout the last year. So this is what inflation did with the currency. Inflation wrecks currencies, and yeah, this is just what one pastry costs. And I wanted to show you because on the conference, or in the conference area, there was a very big bin located with a lot of trash, and the trash was this. And I kept it as a souvenir just to remind me of what could happen to a currency. And this is why we need Bitcoin. It's because we see that there is a lot of inflation happening right now, and there are a lot of countries that are having hyperinflation. For example, Venezuela, Argentina, probably Colombia as well, a lot of South American companies, but there will also be like Iran, Turkey with the lira. We see it everywhere. And keep in mind that this probably not in the same proportion, but this happens to your money as well, and you want to remain your purchasing power. So okay, enough about this keynote. Then we go back to the keynote of Jack Dorsey, and this was on the first day of the conference, and to me this was really heavy because Jack Dorsey was coming into the room, and we felt that the audience wasn't very happy to see him. So he sat down and he was quite nervous, or at least he was shaking a bit. And Jack Dorsey is of course the CEO of Square and of Twitter. And Square is a great company, and Twitter as well, by the way. But there are a lot of people in the room, in the audience, that weren't that enthusiastic about Twitter. So then we had Laura Loomer coming to stage when they were like in the middle of their conversation. Laura Loomer was asking about the decentralization, or at least the centralization of Twitter, after Jack Dorsey said that there isn't anything more important to work on than Bitcoin. And he said, if I didn't have my companies, I of course would work on Bitcoin. But he thinks that with his companies, he can help Bitcoin grow more. So that's why he's still working on his companies. But you felt that he wasn't, everyone in the room felt that he wasn't very comfortable talking about Twitter being centralized. And Laura Loomer was talking during this interview session, and everyone was a bit annoyed by her. I think she's going to do a podcast with Peter McCormack as well. But she was right in the core of her questions. She was right because, of course, there is no such thing as decentralized social media. Twitter is centralized F. and yeah, it's not how it should go. And in the end, you saw that he was getting like, he didn't felt really great, but they spoke about it. And I really believe that Jack Dorsey wants a better future for Twitter as well, but he wants to improve Bitcoin. That's what he does with his companies. And so he wants to be an accelerator, but he didn't feel good about Twitter. And in the end, after his keynote, he posted on Twitter a tweet on which he said, "I get it and I appreciate it." So he got it, even though people were like booing to him. And so he got what the audience wanted to tell to him. And I think that he will find a way to improve what has to be improved. Then we had Lynn Alden talking to Miss Stark, and Miss Stark is from Lightning Labs, of course, and Lynn Alden, you know her as the one, or at least one of the most important women when it comes to finance and when it comes to Bitcoin. Not only Bitcoin, but also investing and inflation, the macroeconomic subjects. And she is amazing. She's amazing. And she spoke about the network effect of Bitcoin. So it wasn't about Bitcoin for billionaires, but it was about Bitcoin for billions. It was a really interesting case that they were building. They were talking about a lot of subjects together. And I think this is a must watch because it's one of the best keynotes from the whole day. Then we go back to Plan B, but before we go back to the cross asset model, the STFX model, I wanted to tell you about the conference area, because the conference area consisted of a lot of different areas. We had the main stage, and of course, Bitcoin 2021 has been discussed quite a lot, because some people were saying that a lot of keynotes were awful, and there were some keynotes that were awful. I agree. But there was more to that. And of course, we had seen Michael Saylor coming to stage, and everyone was yelling, and the audience was going mad. And I know, but there was more. There were like 6 or 7 different stages. We had an art room. There was a room with several companies, and to me, it was like really well organized on the second day, especially. And I wanted to talk about the art, because there's a lot going on about digital art, for example, the NFTs. And we found an art stand with some woman called Patek, and she makes amazing art from the stock to flow model. I even WhatsApped Plan B about this art, and I said, you must see what's going on here. This is insane. It's so pretty. And he told me that he has one of her pieces at home, and when we know where to live, we will definitely buy one as well, because they looked so pretty. This is one, and there were like several other different, here you see it, it's so pretty. There were several others as well, with a lot of red, and the complete stock to flow model with the halvings and with dollar bills combined. It was so pretty. But okay, we're going back to the stock to flow model, and we had the May close on the end of May. Now it's June, it's the 6th of June, and we knew that Bitcoin would go up. It wouldn't go up in a straight line, is what Plan B said, and several minus 35% drops are still possible. And indeed, likely in a bull market, starting to look like the 2013 cycle, according to the STF and the STFX model. So for now, we just have had a new dot evolving, and the other one for June is still here, but we have to end the month. But Plan B isn't really negative about what the model looks like. It just looks like 2013. We have seen it, and after 2013 it took on to 3 months before the price hit a new all-time high, and then in 2 months it hit like an insane price. And in 2000, if this happens as well, we have June, July, and then September, and after September then the price will go up again if we fall out of 2013 phase. Then we had Plan B retweeting this tweet of Jeff Dorman. Jeff Dorman is tweeting about institutional interest from digital assets. And this can be seen in the first 10-day return of each month. Largest token from each sector as a proxy. So what's happening here? Fund flows come in on the first of the month. And all indication from the OTC desk and fund suggest another record month of inflows. So today's rally, or at least the rally of the last day of May, has been sparkled by the new money being put to work through OTC channels. So what he's saying is that it seems like a dangerous time to be short based on the previous patterns and investing in influence pattern recognition by pattern recognition. And we will discuss this when we are going to look at the end of this video. We will going to discuss what the chart looks like right now. And I must say that I completely agree with Plan B, with Jeff Dorman, and when looking at technical analysis as well, this is where it all combines together. And then we had Anonymous uploading a video on Saturday afternoon when the event was still ongoing. Everyone was kind of nervous or interested, excited about what Anonymous had to say about Musk's crypto tweets. Even Anonymous had an opinion, and the video was kind of exposing Elon Musk as a CEO of Tesla. So what they said, and this is something that I've said before, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, the video accuses the Tesla CEO of abandoning Bitcoin as a form of payment in order to keep government subsidies. And I've spoken about this before, because Tesla receives a lot of government subsidies and the company itself can't survive without these subsidies. And the subsidies are based on a greener economy. And if you are into Bitcoin, that isn't really like super energy friendly. Even though Bitcoin uses 75% renewable energy, it isn't really energy friendly from the standpoint of the government, or at least from the US government. So this is what the video is about. Another interesting video to watch. There's a really short video as well. And they said the hacker group further calls Musk a recent move to create Bitcoin miner Council in an attempt to control the industry. And in no time, this video had over 1 million views. And in the end of this video, Anonymous said to Elon, "You may think you are the smartest person in the room, but now you have met your match. We are Anonymous, we are a legend, expect us," as they always say. And despite the numerous people having posted a copy of the video to Elon Musk's Twitter feed, the CEO has yet to directly respond. However, Musk did post a tweet on Saturday afternoon that could be interpreted as a response, because he tweeted, "Don't kill what you hate, save what you love." And in addition to that, Musk's profile picture was changed to completely filled black circle that could be referred to the color of most associated with Anonymous, or maybe not, because Elon Musk is always trolling. So I would recommend you to watch this video. It's quite an interesting video to see about Elon Musk's past. And then we had 300 companies seeking for a Singapore crypto license. And at the conference, a bit license, a crypto license was discussed very often, because a lot of the Bitcoiners are against licensing, are against putting crypto or putting Bitcoin in boxes. And I can agree with them, but I can also agree that the regular financial sector needs to have some basis. And we found out that there were a lot of companies that were seeking for a Singapore crypto license. Among these companies were Alibaba and Google. So companies apply under the Payment Service Act, a comprehensive regulatory framework for companies handling activities relating to digital assets, including payments and trading. But what we ask ourselves is, why are Alibaba and Google among these companies? We're not sure yet. Giving license to somebody is a premium. It's not something to be taken lightly. We are unsure what whoever gets the mass license will be credible. So we don't know why they have registered for a license. Maybe they just wanted to do so. Maybe they want to even sign. We're not sure. But Google, by the way, gave last week a green light to all the companies that wanted to advertise on Google in the US. They had a ban since, I think it was 2016, 2017, maybe even 2017, late 2017. And now the companies can advertise via Google again. It's for now only in the US, but we expect that it will go through Asia and to Europe as well. Then we had GBTC having the premium still negative. We are in a very interesting phase when it comes to Bitcoin, and there is a big price move expected of at least $10,000. I will show it to you when we are going to look at the Bitcoin USD chart. I will do it by the end of this video. It's going to take a couple of minutes more, but we are seeing something that's interesting. The GBTC premium stays negative for over 3 months as it holds decline gradually, while Bitcoin price suggests around the 37,000 mark. So what's going on here? I will show you in this chart. Here we see the chart. This is the grayscale premium on the normal price of Bitcoin. So the premium is now minus, I think it is minus 12.5% or so. And why is the premium lower than the actual price of Bitcoin? This means that there is not enough demand. I think it's demand. I don't know. GBTC is one of the most convenient and secure points of entry for institutional funds. So this means that funds are not really interested in using GBTC to buy Bitcoin. It looks like their demand was one of the drivers early in 2021 when there was a big premium. We saw a big premium over here in the beginning of 2021. Here you see that the premium was at a high of 20%. So, but it slowed down, and we no longer hear her new entities claiming that they have decided to diversify and are trying to hold blockchain assets. They're diversifying it to blockchain, but let's name Bitcoin. If you buy and sell and the premium is the same, the impact is minimal. Recently, there are more easy and comfortable ways to access Bitcoin, so the premium of Grayscale has fallen, and now it's at a discount relatively to Bitcoin NAV. So the interest for GBTC has fallen, and this could have something to do with the other routes that you can take if you want to get Bitcoin as an institutional investor. You can use a fund in Canada now. There is one in Europe. So it's spreading more. You can get easy access to Bitcoin. For example, the ETFs and the ETNs. So this doesn't only have something to do with demand and supply, because it also has to do something with the competitors and how easy it is to get Bitcoin via other ways, or maybe even the real Bitcoin accessing it themselves as institutions want to own Bitcoin instead of owning it via another party. But this doesn't mean that the sentiment is very negative though. But some say that we can use GBTC premium as a very good indicator for mid-term market sentiment, and the premium turned negative at the end of April. That's what we see over here. It turned negative at the end of April, and while the digital asset experienced a local boom, lack of institutional interest predicted May's market cap shrinkage, and now we see that there is more interest in Bitcoin via GBTC, but still not as high as we have seen before in January 2021. But still, it's quite interesting to see that we are going up again over here, and this can also have something to do with the competitors and the other options to buy Bitcoin as an institutional party. Then we had one of the most important things when it comes to macroeconomics, and this is the first and the last one because we spoke about Bitcoin 2021 so much today. I will leave this one, this only macro news on your side. So we had the UN World Food Price year on year, and this is the food price rising in 2021, and look at how fast this food price is rising. The global food prices have spiked, is what Jeroen Blokland says, and it's at a 40%, or at least a 39.7% year-on-year increase. So that's insane. Keep in mind what's happening with your money, what's happening with the purchasing power. Jack Mallers spoke about this. Go watch his keynote from the conference and really keep in mind why we need something as Bitcoin. We need some currency, or at least we need a currency that is not related to money printing, or at least that we can't print endlessly. So this is what happens when the Federal Reserve or the European Central Bank remain to print money. The prices have spiked over the last couple of months, over the last couple of years, and keep in mind that this is why Bitcoin is so important. We are not only experiencing hyperinflationary things, or at least inflationary things in El Salvador or in Venezuela or in Argentina or in Iran. We are seeing it ourselves as well. We see it in Holland as well. We see it in Mexico as well. So keep in mind that this is everywhere. Inflation is everywhere, and your purchasing power is going down every month, every day. So that's why this is really important. We will discuss the macro news next week again, and for now we're going to take a look at the chart of Bitcoin. I will start by looking at the 4-hour chart. As you can see, this is a period from the beginning of May until the beginning of June until now, and we are currently in this very big symmetrical triangle, and this symmetrical triangle has a target point of at least 10,000 USD. So I wanted to show you how I came up with this target. We are using the bodies of these candles, and then we can like calculate what the difference is between the bodies of these candles. By the way, I'm using Heikin Ashi candles, not normal candles, because in the Heikin Ashi you can easily spot these movements, and the RSI works way better when using Heikin Ashi. Then we had this rising wedge, price went down again, and now we're in this some sort of, I don't even know what this looks like, but it's more like a downward trend, and we are waiting for the big breakout. It can take more than a week from now until the 15th of June. Usually we break out right before we end up here, so we're probably gonna break out earlier, and then we are waiting, or at least then we need to wait for the spike and for the confirmation. So what's the confirmation? We want to break out downward, preferably upwards, of this symmetrical triangle. If we break out, we usually go until, let's say, the last resistance, then we go back and test the old resistance over here as a new support line. If we tested the new support line, then we can finally move out upward again, and for now we just have to wait what way this breakout will be. So if we break out downward, then we have like a 25k target point. If we break out upward, we have 47, 48, maybe even maybe a bit lower, I don't know. Yeah, it's 47 target point. And for now we just have to watch, we just have to wait. There is nothing more to say. We're gonna break out, and this is gonna be a huge move, we know this for sure. and maybe we have to wait until Monday starts again, maybe even to Tuesday, or maybe it's gonna happen the end of this week. We don't know yet, but this is gonna be a very big move, and it probably isn't going like vertical this way, but we will do this in several moves upward, or we do it in several moves downward. If we go downward, then it will go quite fast. In my experience, downward moves are always way harder than upward moves, way faster than upward moves. So keep this in mind. We are going to wait for the higher volume on the breakout, then the breakout will be confirmed, and right now we currently have to wait to see what the big move will be. Oh, and by the way, before we end this video, I've had a lot of questions from you about doing technical analysis, about doing trading, and using the best exchange for buying Bitcoin or selling Bitcoin, or even do margin trading, leverage trading. If you want to do so, make sure to only do this when you have experience in doing technical analysis. So if you want to know more about that, I have some recommended platforms down below in this link. You can use this link if you want to. We've got some discounts as well, so make sure to use them. And for now, I'd really like to thank you for watching this video. I would also like to know if you would have gone to Bitcoin 2021, and if you like the videos that have been published, maybe you have watched the live stream, let me know about what you think of the announcement of El Salvador, and what you think of Jack Dorsey and Twitter being centralized instead of decentralized. Put it down below in the comment section. I would really like to know your opinion about it. And for now, I would really like to thank you for watching, and make sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, because you will get notified about the last news on Bitcoin, about macroeconomics, about charts as well. If we break out, you will be the first one to hear. And please don't forget to push on the blue button, and I hope to see you next week again with a new Madelon Talks. For now, have a great week. Bye!